Africa is not waiting for the future. She is building it with innovation, resilience, and technology. At Tech Expo Africa, we're at the forefront of this transformation, connecting innovators, entrepreneurs, and visionaries to shape a brighter tomorrow. Since our inception in 2019 with the inaugural Akure Tech Expo Africa has evolved into a pan-African platform. We've hosted conferences on-site and online, engaged communities through webinars and training sessions, and partnered with NGOs, government agencies, and tech hubs to advance technological development across the continent. Our vibrant community boasts over 100 volunteers spread across the globe, all dedicated to our mission of enabling development. Through our multifaceted approach, we offer unparalleled networking opportunities for business leaders, innovators, startups, and tech enthusiasts. Whether you're a student, a startup founder, a tech enthusiast, a policymaker, or a dreamer, Tech Expo Africa is your platform to connect, to grow, and lead. Join us in fostering a vibrant ecosystem that drives progress and development. Our mission extends beyond annual conferences. We actively engage with communities all year round through webinars, trainings, and partnerships, ensuring continuous growth and collaboration in Africa's tech ecosystem. Join the movement. Be part of the future. We collaborate with synergy. We collaborate across board without ego. Tech Expo Africa. Enabling development.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and let me say maybe probably good night to everyone watching us live, wherever you are watching us from. Thank you so much for joining us again for another edition of Tech Expo Africa events. I personally am excited to be here once again, and I know you are also excited. It's has always been a very productive conversation here on this event, and I'm really excited, and I'm particularly excited about today's conversation. And I know for each and every one of us, you are as excited as I am. I don't know whether you are more excited than I am, but I'm very, very excited. And in case you don't know, today's topic is AI for non-technical leaders, practical use cases across finance, operation, HR, and customer experience. Now, this is going to be a very powerful session. Thank you once again for joining us. I can see that some of us are already live. Thank you. You are the early comers. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Just like we used to do, my name is Olafisoye Ige, and I am joining you from Akure, Nigeria. All right. So I want you to tell me your name and where you are watching from. Okay. You know, that's how we used to do it in all of our events. So I want you to tell me what is your name and where you are watching from. I just want to call out some of us. Your name and where you are watching from. What is your name and where you are watching from? Quickly. Can you do that quickly? What is your name and where you are watching from? You can as well watch this from Facebook, from YouTube, from LinkedIn. All right. Let me quickly do that in 5 minutes before I bring up our guest. Our guest is already with us here in the studio. So your name and where you are watching us from. I really believe that this event has really been a very productive and very impactful session, at least from the comments that many of us we do give after the events, or in fact during some of the questions, some of the comments that come during the events. I personally feel that some of the conversation we bring to this stage resonate with a lot of us. I can see that some of us, you are live. So please tell me your name and where you are watching from. All right. My name is John. I'm watching from Nigeria. Okay. Thank you so much, Sheung from Nigeria. Thank you so much, Sheung from Nigeria. I know people are watching us from, I know people registered from Nairobi. I know people are registered from Kigali. I know people registered from Cape Town. Okay. Bolaji from UK. Thank you so much, Bolaji, for joining us. Bolaji, thank you. Temitope Ajibade from Ibadan, Nigeria. Thank you, Temitope. Thank you so much for joining us. I personally am really excited that you are here. I'm excited that you are here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can also see Okiki Ola from Nigeria. Okiki, thank you so much for joining us in this event. I want to quickly do something for me. I want you to, okay, right. So I want you to please share this, all right? Share this video with somebody. I know there's somebody in your network. There is a non-technical leader in your network that should be part of this conversation. All right, they need to be part. I know some of us will share this conversation after the live session, but there's somebody in your contact list that needs to be part of this live conversation so that you can ask our guest, because there's going to be an opportunity for you to ask a guest a direct questions, some of the questions that has been bothering you as a technical leader, whether in finance and customer relation, etc. All right. So please, the second thing I want you to do is share this. Share this. All right. Non-technical professionals. All right. Non-technical professionals. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I know some people are still live. So if you are just joining, you know how we do it here. Tell me your name and where you are watching us from. Your name and where you are watching us from. Quickly, I want to acknowledge sponsors for this event. I'm going to mention Advanced Training Consulting. Advanced Training Consulting. So I want to say a big thank you to Advanced Training Consulting for partnering with us on this event. Thank you so much, Advanced Training Consulting. And I also know that Shokeni Solutions as well also partner with us. Okay. I want to get some people before I play our speaker's bio. Before I play our speaker's bio, and I will just bring a speaker up stage. All right. Okay, let me just play our speaker's bio, then I can bring a speaker up stage. Then I believe others will join us as we go on. Thank you.
They are at the forefront of technology, innovation, and business transformation. Jide Onabajo experience leading complex technology and business transformation initiatives. Jide has helped organizations build the gap between strategy and execution, delivering data-driven, cloud-enabled, AI-powered, and customer-centric solutions that create measurable impact. His professional journey began with Deloitte and PwC, where he built a strong foundation in finance, business advisory, and strategic consulting. Today, as co-founder of Proagility AI, he advises organizations on practical AI adoption, intelligent automation, and digital transformation that drive innovation and sustainable growth. A fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, a project management professional, and a holder of a master's degree in finance and IT, Jide combines commercial insights with deep technology expertise. As a sought-after keynote speaker and trainer, he empowers executives, product managers, business analysts, delivery leaders, and technology professionals with practical frameworks that transform strategy into execution and ideas into measurable results. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming Jide Onabajo as he shares insights on the future of AI, product delivery, leadership, and digital transformation.
Thank you very much for that intro, and welcome everyone again from everywhere, wherever you're coming in from, Europe, Africa, Asia, and thank you for joining this webinar. I hope at the end of this period, this conversation or this session, you would have picked up one or two things that would be useful to you, both in the short, medium, and long term. So, can I have my slides on? Okay, so AI for non-tech professionals. Again, you all know AI is the buzzword now. I think every millennium there's always a buzzword from a technological side. So AI is a new thing, Fortunately, it's one of those things that's not going to go away. It's going to be here with us forever as individuals and professionals. In fact, it's going to be embedded into our day-to-day lives. So it's good we start getting used to it, and we take away that fear of AI and start embedding it into our professional and non-professional life. So the question that you should ask yourself, and I keep asking myself, is how can I make AI to work smarter for me? And how can I use it to improve my day-to-day life? And also, how do I use it to deliver value in any organization I find myself, either as an owner or as an employee or agent of that organization? And that's the conversation that we'll kick off here. I promise you, in the next 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, I'll take you on a journey that would help you to understand what you need to know around AI, potential use cases, and of course, how it impacts your day-to-day activities from a professional side. Can we move to the next slide, please? Okay, so like you all know, artificial intelligence is no longer a technology story. It's not a story that is told by the technology domain. It's a story that is more of a personal productivity story. And that's why you find out that over time, AI has already been built into tools that you use in your everyday work, um, emails, spreadsheets, meeting documents. You have one form of AI embedded tool in it. And then you see that, like I mentioned, adoption has shifted from technology to personal productivity. Everybody is a Everybody who uses AI, irrespective of your background, is a developer, or has the ability to understand technical technology concepts. So it has democratized knowledge. And then people who learn to use AI are becoming more noticeable at work because they are more effective, they are more efficient. They've moved away from routine to transactional activities, to becoming more strategic because time has been freed. And of course, knowing AI will become it will become democratized as easy as everybody knows how to use the Microsoft suite. So if you were using Excel, you were using Word, you were using PowerPoint, in the next future or in the future to come, you would find out that AI is what you will be measured on, your ability to prompt and use it at work. Next slide, please. Okay, so what we'll cover today, we'll look at so why AI matters, and then we'll talk about simple AI concepts. Then we'll look at the state of AI adoption across the world, and then talk about it as they affect Africa. And then we'll look at the AI journey. It's always good to tell a story, how we started, and then you are able to understand where we want to go to. And then we look at our AI use cases across finance, banking, operations, human resource, and then customer service. And then we also look at how you can use AI to work effectively using AI and productivity tools. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, 4 words that you keep hearing in AI: generative AI, co-pilots, agents, automation. Those 4 words, you always hear it. And from a non-technical side, what does it mean? So generative AI is that tool that creates content, writes text, drafts summaries, summarizes documents, generates image. So it's basically taking what you've given it and then it's generating the output that you want. And then you have next, which is Copilot. So Copilots are AI apps or AI tools that are embedded in apps that you already use. So Microsoft Word has an AI feature in it. Excel has an AI feature in it. Outlook has an AI feature in it. Teams has its AI, Salesforce, and every other tool that you use has its own AI embedded feature in it. And then you move to AI agents. So AI agents are basically tools, partners that can think about it as assistants that help you to run a workflow end to end. So what it does is it takes data that you fed it, it runs by the instructions that you've given it, and then it produces the desired output that you want. A typical example is you pick an invoice, you plug it into your AI tool, and you tell it to draft an email summary that speaks to that document or that invoice, and then send the email summary to whoever needs it, maybe the vendor person or somebody or the legal person who wants to make a decision on it. So that is the when you talk about AI agents. And then when you talk about automations handle routine work. So basically things that you do over time or you do in sequence. What automation does is that assistance that handles the routine for you. So you might say you have a routine that if you wake up in the morning, you log onto your computer, the first thing you do is to check your task, your to-do list. After checking your to-do list, you complete your timesheet. After completing your timesheet, then you send a couple of emails. You can actually set an AI automation that helps you to run that step because it is a routine that you do that would never stop you, and it will just keep going on as long as you are in existence in that space. Next slide, please. So let's quickly look at the state of AI adoption, and that will give you an idea around how important it is and why it's not going away. I've spoken to a couple of professionals who will say, oh, this AI thing is going to go away. It's not going to go away. It's going to be there. It's going to become part and parcel of what you do. So if we go to the next slide, please. So I was reading through a McKinsey capability report. It's called the State of AI 2025. And basically what they do is in the last couple of years, that report has been published, and it tells us, like every other report around adoption of any new technology or any innovative tool, what it does, it tells you how organizations are doing. It's a free-to-air report. I put the link in the slide. You can read it in depth. But if we looked at it from what is calling out, so what you have here is 88%, about 8% of organizations have reported, and this is globally, has reported that they use AI in at least one business function. It might be customer service, it might be HR, it might be in finance, but they have used 88% of everybody who was interviewed have been using AI or uses AI within one of those work functions. However, the use of AI not necessarily scaling. So what you have is only about 1/3 of the respondents just scaling. So you have the remaining 2/3 that have not scaled. So scaling means if let's say you have 5 departments in your organization: finance, HR, compliance, and procurement. Let me use 4. So what it says is that for you to scale, you must have AI adopted in the operations of all 4 functions. So what this report is saying, only 1/3 of organizations have actually gotten to that level. I'm sure by the time we get the same report in 2026, you find out that you have more than 1/3 of organizations. So, but the point here is AI is not just an experimental tool. It is coming. It's organizations are embedding it into, or they're having plans to embed it into their ways of delivering. Next slide, please. And then if we come back to our African continent, again, we are still playing catch up, but we are making good progress. So you find out that 40% of African organizations use AI in 1 or 2 functions. And then if you now look at it from a use case perspective, what business or what industry is this adopted the most? It's money transfer. So mobile money use cases, that's where it is, and that's number 1. Of course, that's obvious. You could see one of the things that is experiencing explosion in the African landscape is fintech and then money transfers. So you can see the direct use of AI in those money transfer operations. For example, WhatsApp transfers, transferring using agents. So, and then next to mobile money, you also have financial services in the African space also picking up. The reason why, because financial services are regulatory, and the government of these jurisdictions are trying to push the use of AI in areas that require a bit of let me call it third eye or fourth eye. So fraud detection, credit scoring are where you see this applicable. And this is not only in Africa, it's globally. We'll talk about that in subsequent slides. And then, of course, customer service. So you have a lot of customer services adoption of AI. That's why when you go to some chat boxes, some sites, you have chat boxes, Fatima chat box, Halima chat box, being paid chat box, Mark chat box. These are all customer services adoption of artificial intelligence into their process. Next slide, please. And then if we now look at it also holistically from an industry perspective, how are the industries doing? So not surprisingly, technology is the highest in terms of adoption. It's the most adopted from an AI perspective. So you have them using AI for coding, you have technology companies using AI agents in their operations, have them embedding AI into their software development. And then, of course, next to it is financial services. Financial services and healthcare, because they are highly regulated, it's imperative that they use they embed the AI into their processes. For healthcare, you have it in diagnostic, image scanning, clinical documentation, and scheduling. So you have it all sitting in there. And then lastly, the last one, not surprisingly, public sector entities. So public sector entities, because of bureaucratic processes and being generally slow to adopt, you have them the last or the guy that's trailing last in terms of adoption. But when they have adopted it, you use it for citizen services, for document annotation. Just to also point out here that from a public sector perspective, this is one of the fastest reaction that you've seen public entities react to any innovation or any new technology. Yes, they might be playing catch up, but they are faster than they have been in previous adoption of previous technology. Next slide, please. Okay, so just back to what I've been saying, where do you have AI from a process or from a function perspective? Where do you have AI clearly visible? You have it in marketing and sales for lead scoring, content generation, campaign materials. The marketing teams use it a lot. You have it in IT and engineering, which I spoke about, code generation, automated testing. Then you have it in service operations, customer support, raising customer support tickets, ticket summarization. And then you have it in product delivery and product management and research and development. So researching around products, competitor analysis, benchmarking analysis. So you have all these functions. You have them. They have visibly adopted AI. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's quickly look at the AI journey quickly. And it's a building block. Next slide, please. Okay, so the AI journey, it's a building block of capability. So it didn't just start from 2026. There had already been iterative development, iterative build that got us to where we are. And this started some 70 years ago. It might have not been called artificial intelligence, but it had the fragments of artificial intelligence at that time. So between 1956 to 1990, so you had what we call rule-based, a rule-based system where there was the attempt to automate repeatable processes, repeatable decisions across organizations. And then between 1990 to 2010, there was the introduction of machine learning. There was an explosion also of statistical models where people tried to use machine learning for better prediction because, of course, organizations became aware, people became aware of the importance of data. That was when people started talking about data being the new black oil. And then with the introduction of machine learning, you had a lot of vector databases that could convert non-data related items into data. And then between 2010 and 2020, you now had deep learning system, and deep learning system built on what the machine learning era had done. So, and that's where you had the ability to talk into machines. You could talk into your machine, and it gives you some responses, or the use of your Alexa, for example, or your Google Maps when you were traveling. So you had that era. And then when you move to between 2020 to 2022, that's where we now had the concept of large language models, where organizations were becoming aware of building on LLMs, developing LLMs, and then getting your LLMs to do the work for you in terms of generating your outcomes. And then between 2022 to 2024, we had the advent of generative AI. So I put an arrow there because this is when AI usage became democratized. That is when you had the explosion of ChatGPT, Claude. Everybody who had access to a computer or a phone could go to ChatGPT and chat on it. So that was the era, or this is the era. And then between 2024 to 2026, you now had advanced AI co-pilots, a situation where you have AI becoming your assistants, taking away some of the tasks that you do, whether personally or professionally, and does it for you, of course, within the framework of your instructions. And then 2026 till date, we have AI agents running independent automated workflows with minimal human intervention. 2027 upwards, we don't know what we will see, but I can say the future is bright. So, but what's important is that it has become accessible, and everybody is expected to understand or know how to use any of these AI tools as a measure of productivity. Next slide, please. Okay, so we'll look at AI across functions. So I have looked at I looked at banking. I'm going to talk about finance, banking, operations, HR, and customer experience. And this is what I'm going to talk about is based on my experience in the last 5 years that I've been involved with organizations and the AI/technology landscape. Next slide, please. Okay, so before I go on, can you type on the chat? So what is your most used AI tool? What's your most used AI tool? Okay, I think I saw ChatGPT. Lord. Okay, cool. So let's start with finance and reporting. So finance and reporting, Claude, thank you very much, Claude. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with finance and reporting. So, of course, for those who are accountants, management accountants, FP&A, or people who generally work with numbers and finance team, this is where we look at how AI can impact what we do. And of course, you cannot talk about it without actually understanding what happens in that domain. So what I've done is I've collated this into 5 areas and then tried to pinpoint where I've seen AI heavily involved in this flow. So you have flow 1, which is data collection. So data collection, any form of data collected, either via transactions into the ledger, bank statements, from documents, any form of data collected in the finance ecosystem or domain. And then once that data is collected, what happens? Then you have to analyze the data to make sense of it. So making sense of data from a finance perspective is having to analyze patterns, group them into areas that are similar, and then pick up anomalies. That's why you have to analyze the data. Then you also establish trends around it. And then after that, the next thing is you generate commentary around what you've analyzed. Because from a finance perspective, whilst you might understand the number on the surface, you're presenting the numbers to people who are not finance people. So you have it generating narratives, not reasons around the numbers, basically commentary that explains the numbers. And of course, you flag anomalies also, which is 4, and then you recommend next step actions. So where I have seen AI embedded in this process is between step 3 and step 5. So most accountants are beginning to use AI to make commentary. They're beginning to use AI to flag anomalies in terms of patterns. For example, you might be looking at your finance data and a large payment came in and this payment is not expected or hasn't come in before. That is an anomaly that AI would help you flag, because what it would have done is it would have looked at your previous data, your previous transaction, and is able to say, look, within this period, you were not expecting this amount of money. So this is an anomaly for you to investigate and then recommend actions. So AI, like I said, helps in has been embedded into process 3, step 3 to 5. And what it does is it takes away the mechanical part, takes away the routine, the business as usual work, and it makes the finance process more strategic. Next slide, please. And then, so if we drill deep a bit, when we look at real use cases where AI is being used in finance. So invoice processing. So what finance teams are doing now is, rather than looking at an invoice and typing it manually, they're uploading the invoice into an AI tool, and then the AI tool helps to extract the key information. For example, the date, the amount, the vendor, the payment, the services, so rather than typing it. And then you also use it for expense review, where AI tools are being used to match claims with expense policy. So what am I saying? Somebody could travel and he's probably traveled to Nairobi, and the charge out rate to Nairobi per night or per DM to Nairobi per night is $40. And then the fellow is actually matching, is claiming for $50. AI would help you to pick up that anomaly. And of course, used for forecasting and predictive analysis, also used for budgeting and variance analysis, where you are comparing your actual position to your planned position. And then most importantly, used for financial reporting, where you are presenting the numbers over a period of time in a set of reports that is going to be used by people outside of your organization or outside of your finance team. And then also another important area is for fraud detection. Again, I did mention it, where it's used to detect anomalies in transaction patterns. So next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so this is my thoughts, and this is how I would do it if I was in finance again. I would use AI to summarize my overnight finance queries and flag anything that needs to be replied today through email. I would definitely use AI for my Excel, to analyze Excel files for me. I would use AI to capture my meeting notes and decisions logged after the meeting. I would definitely use AI for my management commentary, especially where I have to explain budget variances. And then I would also use it to put together my presentation, which I would be presenting to the non-finance stakeholders. So all this, if well embedded, would save you a lot of time. Saves you the time of going to Excel files, looking at numbers, extracting information, and that time it takes you from being the operational finance person to becoming a more strategic person who can focus on the conversations and the rationales behind the numbers. Next slide, please. Okay, so so the next use case is banking. Again, banking, I have grouped everything that the bank does. I've tried to group it into a workflow and then try to show where AI is of help, or where people are using AI or bankers are using AI. So you have the first flow, which is capture. So capturing customer information irrespective of what you're doing. So say a customer walked in, wanted to open an account, you have to capture his information. The customer wants to take a loan, you have to capture his information. The customer wants to make a transfer, you have to capture the information. So you have capturing, and then you also, after capturing, you have review. So you have to review what you have captured, the information you've captured, and then you have to make a decision. So, and then you have to act. So after the decision, you take action. Do you want to approve? Do you want to escalate? Do you want to reject? And then you follow up. Where does AI come in? So AI comes in between from stage 1 to 4. So what does it do? So at the point where you are capturing your customer information, so customer applications are usually in form of a form. The AI tools are used to extract the information around the customer. And then you have know your customer documentation also. AI tools are used to capture that. And then it's also used AI tools are also used to translate customer inquiries into action points. That's where the concept around sentimental analysis comes in, or query analysis. And then step 2, review. Of course, AI helps to review completeness. So you have a documentation or an application documentation. You have the benchmark of completeness. So what AI does is it takes what customer has submitted, or what you have extracted, and it matches it to your benchmark. And if there are any inconsistencies or incompleteness, it flags it to you. That saves you the time of looking at it side by side manually. And then it also helps you to decide, helps you with your risk analysis, your anti-money laundering analysis, and then also helps you to credit score a customer. And then it will also recommend action for you if you should reject, maybe if it's a loan application or opening a new bank account, or you should approve, or you should route it to a higher superior. Let's say, for example, the limit of the loan that the customer is applying for might not be within your, or might be more than your approval limit. Then it tells you to route it to a higher person. So what it does is, you see, it takes away the manual work and gives you time to make judgment calls. So everything that needs to be manual has been done by your tool or by your AI assistant, and then you have time to make judgment calls on areas, particularly areas around credit risk and loan approvals. There's a lot of judgment call that comes into that space in the banking sector, and needs a lot of human time. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, let's deep dive. So 8 banking activities where AI is already helping teams to, where AI is helping teams to improve and promote efficiency. So fraud monitoring. So I remember one of the organizations I worked with, we built a fraud monitoring tool. It's a very simple tool. The concept is very simple. So what it does is it takes historical interpretation of frauds, and then takes the data and around it and uses the data to train a model, so that if the model or the AI assistant in the future sees any similar pattern, it can call it up as a fraud. So it was a very simple but helpful model. And then you also have AI models or AI tools used for KYC reviews, where it's helping you to extract information around the customer around the whole bank. So not necessarily within your domain. So you might be in credit you might be in compliance doing know your customer review, the customer, and you have that customer who had defaulted in credit. So what an AI assistant ordinarily would do is to search the whole bank database and pick that up and help you to understand. And then you have credit assessment, of course. Do I give or reject a loan? Then customer inquiries, also the use of chat boxes, complaints handling, again, the use of sentimental analysis around the data or the complaints that come in. Then AML means anti-money laundering monitoring. So what it does also, it helps you to search around for your customers, the information about your customers. And then you have relationship briefing, and then you have regulatory reading. So these are the areas where banking AI has been very helpful to banking. Next slide, please. Again, so what you could do if you're a banker is to look around and see where AI can be helpful to you, and then you run a pattern or you run this process. So you anti-money laundering, know your customer reviews, credit pipeline review. So you could have a credit approval of many customers, and you can ask AI to present your AI assistant to present a one-page document each on each customer rather than having to read the whole brief around the customer. And then relationship meeting also, this also is very useful. So say you're a banker and you're meeting a client for the first time. First thing you're doing is you're going into ChatGPT or Claude or your internal AI assistant, and you're asking it to tell me about this client. Tell me about Dangote. Tell me if Dangote has any loan default. Tell me who are the tell me who are the major investors, And of course, reading policies document also. Next slide, please. And then you have operations. So operations is also an area where AI assistance is very important. So you have it for sensing signals, forecasting demand, scheduling resources, early detection, and then resolving. So AI has been embedded into step 2 and 4, and I will talk about that in the next slide. Do you want to go into the next slides, please? Okay, so what you have is use cases where AI helps operations. So you have demand forecasting, you have quality inspection, you have predictive maintenance, route optimization, process optimization, and vendor management. Demand forecasting is very key. It's an area where it's always being used. And then you have predictive maintenance, also very key. So predictive maintenance helps you to flag when you need to maintain any of your machinery or any of your process. Rather than waiting for it to break down, it flags it and gives you a timeline. So rather than wait till when that happens, you are able to plan for that maintenance. That's one of the strongest use cases for artificial intelligence for operations tools or in the operations domain. Next slide, please. Let's go to the next slide because we are racing for time. And then HR, very important. So HR, so what does AI do from an HR function? It helps you to move away from the admin and then focus on the conversation. So the normal HR process, candidate sourcing, screening and shortlisting, candidate onboarding after the guy got the job or the lady, then staff development, and then coaching. So what AI has been embedded into or can be embedded into stage 1, that's sourcing for candidates, stage 2, screening and matching candidates, and then stage 3, onboarding candidates. This is very, very this is a very, very important use case for the HR teams, because now by the time they have been able to outsource this to the AI agent, they're able to focus on the things that are very important from a people management. Next slide, please. So again, these are use cases, real life use cases where you have AI working with HR teams, talent acquisition, onboarding, performance reviews, learning and development, employee support, workflow planning. Next slide. I think we can skip this. This is for reading. Okay. So and then finally, customer experience. So customer experience. Can you go back to customer experience, please? Yes, down. So customer experience. So again, customer experience translates into revenue for you. So if your customer experience is poor, your revenue will eventually drop. So, and the whole customer experience flow or customer service, let's use that, the name we all know, involves listening to signals, understanding intent, customer intent, analyzing next steps for the customers, resolving customers' queries, and then move on to the next interaction. So what you see, where I've seen AI being embedded or where it has been embedded, you have it in stage 2, where you have to understand the intent around the customer. So what it does is what, and this is where sentimental analysis is very important, because customers give you signals in non-verbal ways, non-worded ways. So you can have thumbs up, thumbs down, I like this, LOL. Those things are all things that form part of your sentimental analysis and helps you to understand the intent of the customers. Once you understand the intent of the customer, then you're able to personalize your solution to meet his query or his intent. And AI helps you to do that both at level 3 and level 4. Next slide, please. Of course, you have the use cases where you can, where AI is being embedded, customer support, personalization, CX analysis, self-service, loyalty, voice of the customers. Next slide, please. Yes, finally. And then, so these are 10 things I recommend you do. You can use AI for this week. So emails. So you can use AI to write emails, rewrite long emails, and of course the tools you can use, ChatGPT, Grammarly, and then you can also use AI for your meeting agendas, to draft agendas, to capture meeting notes. I use Otter AI, very good tool, or Zoom AI. And then you can use it for document summarization and interpretation. Of course, Claude Notebook LLM. Then you use AI for research also. Perplexity is very good. Then from analytics side, you have a co-pilot in Excel to do analysis on your Excel. Then on the presentation side, you use Gamma AI, you use Canva AI to help you present nice presentations. Then brainstorming, I use Mirror AI and also Idea Map. I also use Notion AI. Notion AI is very good. And then for planning, you have the use of Jira. So planning, when I mean planning work. So use of Jira, Monday.com, Asana AI. Those are tools, AI tools that help you. And then problem solving, and then learning also. So these are areas that you can adopt an AI tool to help you be more efficient in the next couple of weeks. Next slide, please. Again, this is just do's and don'ts. I'll talk about the don'ts. Don't put, as you all know, no personal data in AI. You have to keep company business confidential. Hiring information, you put it in AI. Facts that are not verified, you don't put it in AI, or you do not. You need to verify facts before you use it as an output from AI. Next slide, please. And I think that is it. So again, just pick one thing, try it out, use a prompt, and build your habits. And you can also, what people do, which has been around for some time, is they build prompt libraries. So you can build a prompt library that helps you so it's a prompt library that you don't need to go back and start thinking about the prompt. You can just call it up because it's in your library. Next slide. I think that's the last. And thank you. Questions?
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jide. Thank you so much. I think this is a very wonderful and very productive conversation. I personally have learned a lot, and I believe for as many as are listening to us right now, I've also learned one thing or the other. I will quickly give a summary of what you've talked about. But for those of us online currently watching us from Facebook, from YouTube, from LinkedIn, and if you have any question, please do well to use the chat box. I'm going to prioritize your question. I have some questions that I will also love to ask, but I'm going to prioritize your question. But let me quickly give a brief, just a very short summary for those of us that might just be joining us now. Just very brief summary of what Mr. Jide has said. He has shown us that AI is no longer just for software engineers or technological experts as we used to know. He mentioned that it is now an everyday tool for professionals across all walks of life. And specifically, he mentioned about finance, about HR, about operations, about customer service, right? And many other fields. And I think the key takeaway today is that AI work best as an assistant. All right, it helps you to work faster, to make better decisions, and also focus on higher valued work. He also mentioned that human judgment remains essential, but the goal is, not to use AI to replace maybe yourself, sort of, but it is also to help you to become better, to become more productive in what you do. I hope I was able to do justice to that summary. So please, wherever you're watching us from, I want you to do well to drop in the comments your questions. I'm going to take your questions. Maybe I'll take one or two questions. As I'm waiting for your question, Mr. Jide, I have a question. Because the conversation today is specifically for non-professional, should I say non-professional, non-technical professionals,
Yes.
right? So I want to ask, many people, it's a conversation. I think it's you also mentioned it in your presentation, but I want to ask it specifically that many people are actually still worried about AI replacing job. It's a conversation. Sometimes when I watch online, some people are for, some people are against. So I want to ask that, based on your experience, how should a professional position themselves to stay relevant in their field?
Yes. To be fair, that is one question that everybody, even I myself, I keep asking myself. In terms of how you need to stay relevant, your first step is you need to, I mean, if somebody is going to take your job, you need to understand what that person knows that you do not know. So, and that's AI. So you need to understand how AI works. You need to understand how the dynamics, and then you need to, and this is what I'm doing. You need to learn to lead with AI. So you should be the leader, and AI should follow you. So that's what you need to. So you need to learn to lead with it. I'll give you an example. Yes, whilst if you were a finance person, AI can replace what you do, but AI cannot replace a finance person because you still need judgment. It's not gotten to that. It's not gotten to that stage where people are confident to let it just run end to end. No. So you need to learn about AI, and then you need to learn about how you can use it to enhance your role. Is AI going to replace jobs? My answer is yes, it will replace some jobs. However, it would also create new jobs. Just like any industrial revolution, jobs go, new jobs come.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I think that was a very perfect answer. I want to ask, I believe some of our audience today, or some people that might watch this later on, may be people that might have not used AI before. I know that might be funny to say that with how the sound or song of AI is booming now, could there be any professional that is not using AI? All right. So, but I want to ask, for those people, what would you recommend they can, or what tool do you recommend they can start using this week to just start getting themselves prepared for what they can do in their choosing profession?
Well, the first thing is just start. That's the first thing, just start. The second thing is pick the common tools. So the common tools out there, AI, Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini. And the beauty about these tools is you don't need to be a subscribed user to get the best out of it. And then the next thing is you ask it, I'm a customer service professional. How can I use you to enhance my work? That's the first. That's what you need to do, because you're the only one that knows what you do a lot. So that's what you have to do. So, but it's important you start first, and you need to conquer the fear. You need to conquer the fear. It's the fear that puts a lot of people out of it, and you need to conquer the fear. And how do you conquer the fear? You pick one of those tools and you just start playing around with it. So that's why I would say conquer your fear. Just start, pick one of those tools, and start prompting away with it.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Let me ask one or two more questions before we wrap up today's conversation. I just want you to talk a little bit about the future of AI for non-technical professionals. So what are those skills that you think a non-technical professional should start developing today for them to remain valuable in a AI-driven work environment?
Okay, cool. First thing is you need to learn how to prompt well. So you need to learn how to prompt. So prompting is the language of AI tools. So if you cannot speak my language, then I cannot give you the best results. So you need to learn the fundamentals of prompting. And prompting, many people come up with different frameworks of prompting. I say you prompt according to your situation. So the first thing is you need to learn how to prompt and your prompting within the context of your function or your professional skill set. The next thing is once you know how to prompt, then you learn how to build agents. And by building agents, you learn it takes you into a journey of how you automate your processes. You automate the things that you do. I promise you, it's not as difficult as it is. And I'm not talking of writing codes or major workflows. You have a lot of no-code solutions where it can help you to just move. All you're basically doing is moving boxes. So you're taking everything in your head and you're putting it into a workflow. So two things, you learn how to prompt properly. Prompting is the language you speak to your AI agent. And then next, you learn to build AI agents and build simple workflows. That's how I always recommend to people. And then you find out that it's a building block. You start building the more as you go along.
Okay. And sir, when you were talking the other time, you mentioned about prompt library. I don't know whether you could talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, so a prompt library it's a library of the prompts that you use frequently. So let's say in the morning, I'm a finance person or I'm an HR person. What I say in the morning, I said, can you I need you to take a job description and I want you to create 10 competency interviews from the job description. So that's a prompt. You're going to create job descriptions. You're going to create competency questions every time. So what you need to do is you take that prompt, you keep it somewhere. A prompt library could be an Excel file, it could be somewhere. So that the reason why you keep the prompt library so that you can go back and use it. So they are reusable prompts that you save. And those reusable prompts are based on the work that your AI assistant does for you. You could also say, okay, you have a legal document that you always review. Let's say you were in legal. Your prompt would be, I'm a lawyer I need to get out all the key cases from this document or from this judgment, and you extract it. That's a prompt. You take that prompt, you save it somewhere, because you're not only going to be reviewing legal documents once, you're going to be reviewing it as long as you're a legal professional. So that's why you need to keep that prompt library. What it does is, and because you're training AI, the AI follows the training process. The moment you have perfected the prompt, you don't need to go back and keep redefining it, because it already knows your pattern of working. It knows your pattern of doing things. Another simple thing is you could also give it a prompt that helps you to, so you can mimic, you can create your tone of voice with your AI app. So if you're somebody who likes to use thank you, who likes to use please, if you're somebody who likes to use fantastic, so those things you can create it in form of a prompt library and keep it, so that when I'm talking to you or I'm sending you an email that is an AI generated email, I sound very human. So that's what I meant by prompt library, basically.
All right, thank you so much. I have a question here from, okay, he said, how can we catch error in the AI outputs? How can we catch error in AI outputs?
No, that's a very good one. So the question is, the thing is, what is error? So remember we said, and this is what I've noticed. Your first interaction with AI tools would not be perfect, but you need to keep building the relation so that it understands your pattern. How do you catch error? You always still need to review the output AI gives you. So once you review the output, what people forget is when they review the output, they want to correct it manually. But if you review the output, you have to go back, because you remember you are training it and it's an iterative process. So you review the output and you feed back the correct result and you call out the error to the AI assistance. What it will do is it will retrain itself. It will keep retraining itself and it will keep retraining until it gets to a margin of acceptance. You remember, you still need to review it, but that's what you need to do. So your first interaction with it, you increase your review of the output. But after review, you need to feed back the correction into the assistant so that it knows its own and it learns from its mistake. So that first part of the review is what most people do, and they just say, oh, it gave me a wrong answer. The second part is what people miss out, feeding back the error back into the assistant.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have, okay, I think Campus asked the question, okay, about your LinkedIn. So, sir, your LinkedIn, Jide Onabajo, is that right, sir?
Yeah, Jide Onabajo.
Onabajo, okay.
Yeah, Jide Onabajo.
Jide Onabajo.
Yes, let me.
All right.
I can share it on the chat, can't I?
All right, that will be good. That will be good. So please, if you want to follow, I would recommend every one of us to follow Mr. Jide Onabajo on LinkedIn and Think Campus. That's you can check him out on LinkedIn, Jide Onabajo. Once again, Mr. Jide, thank you so much. This has been a very productive and wonderful conversation for myself, and I believe for as many as are also attending right here online, and for as many that will be watching. Okay, thank you. All right. So, and for as many that will be watching after now, all right. I just wanted to give one piece of advice about embracing AI without feeling overwhelmed or overwhelming. Especially, I know for technical professionals, it's an easy adoption. But for non-technical professional, it might be, I don't want to learn how to code. I like the traditional method. So I just want to give you one piece of advice to those people in those category as we end today's webinar. Over to you, sir.
So I would say first, and it's what I always say, just start. Just, if you've not picked it up, just start. The second thing is just pick one of the tools and walk through it. start with ChatGPT. Take ChatGPT and just keep asking it questions. Keep asking it questions. The best way to do it is pretend that ChatGPT or Claude is your teacher, and just keep asking it questions. The more you ask questions, you interact with it, the more you see how demystified and simple it is. So what you have to start. That's why I'll just start.
All right, that's a very wonderful advice, Mr. Jide. Thank you once again for coming to Tech Expo Africa webinar. We hope to have you again for this conversation again. I mean, there are so many conversations for technical professionals, but conversation for non-technical guys, it's something that we really need to, because AI is here to stay. And I think it's also important that everyone come on board. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much once again, Mr. Jide.
Thank you very much. And thanks for listening. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for today's webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. I truly hope that you enjoyed it. And I am seriously excited. And please, if you are watching this webinar and you've not followed us, please ensure you do that right now. Follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, so that you will not miss these conversations like this. And I know for some of us, we may be a technical professional, right? But if you have a non-technical professional around you, your admin in the office, the HR in your office, make sure you send this to them, all right? Make sure you send this conversation to them. You may not be able to make full sense of the conversation today, but for that non-technical professional you have in your corner, they will definitely learn from this conversation. So please like, share, and drop a comment, all right? Even if it is to say bye-bye, all right? I want you to drop a comment, and thank you. Once again, we want to say a very big thank you to all of our volunteers, that made this event a success. Thank you so much. We have a community of volunteers, over 100 around Africa, around the world, that are ensuring that every of our events and our yearly conference, come together. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, this is a picture. Thank you so much for making this event a success. All right. Feel free to be part of the volunteers, join our community. Just follow us. When you follow us, you see more information about how to join our community. Sooner or later, we'll be starting our event. Make sure, and our sponsors, all right, those people that have partnered with us, those people that have worked with Tech Expo Africa, please, thank you. You want to partner with us, you want to be part of this great community, make sure you message us on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, in fact, any social media. All right, you will definitely see Tech Expo Africa there. Once again, I want to say thank you. My name is Olafisoye Ige, and okay, thank you. Okay, to join our community, all right, that's the link. Let me say it out for every one of us: bit.ly/Tech Expo Africa Global. Let me say that again: bit.ly/Tech Expo Africa Global. I know you want to be a part of this community. I tell you, so many opportunities. There are opportunities that we share in-house. All right, you can add some of the things we do here to your portfolio. There is so much support in the community. I tell you the truth. All right, you want to be a part of. I don't want to patronize you too much, but I think it's something you really want to do. So thank you once again. Please share this video. All right. See you in another webinar. Thank you and God bless you. Bye.